If you've ever played Smash Ultimate, then you know that there's a lot of characters to play. Over 80 of them, in fact. But oddly enough, choosing one is the easy part when it comes to playing the game. Because before you want to start a match, you have to read the holy bible of fighting game stage lists and somehow pick one from this many. I probably don't know how to count this high. If there's one word I can use to describe Smash Bros' vast amount of options, it would be intimidating. I go to quite a lot of Smash tournaments from time to time, and I have to live in constant fear of someone walking up to me and asking,
"What's your favorite stage?"
I would piss my pants on the spot. I mean, imagine paying $60+ for the newest fighting game just to admire the scenery of PictoChat. I'm only joking, of course, because there are so many awesome stages that are incredibly beautiful to look at and offer a fun alteration to a regular game of Smash by adding different hazards and events. It's incredibly daunting to choose just one to highlight, but if I had to pick one, then it would be whichever stage I put in the title of this video. Yep. Tickle. Yep. Typical. Have you ever played Kirby's Nightmare in Dreamland and wanted to hit King Dedede with Sephiroth's Giga Flare? Well, now you can on this beautiful reinterpretation of the Fountain of Dreams. This stage hosts 3 platforms set in a battlefield formation, and the platforms on the left and right sides change their positionings occasionally throughout the match. This small addition to how platforms work on this stage changes up so much on both the competitive and the casual sides of how a match plays out, with competitive players needing to understand the patterns and how they can put themselves in an advantage with the platforms, or how it could do the complete opposite for their opponent. As for casual play, the shifts in elevation can add a well-adjusted amount of unpredictability and wackiness whenever there's more than 2 characters on screen. No one is going to be able to nail the timing and positioning of these platforms every single time in the midst of a free-for-all, but not knowing their mechanics won't alter how the game plays out in a significant way, so it's technically really balanced on both ends of the spectrum. Sakurai and the rest of his dev team really knew what they were doing when they made this stage with these incredibly simplistic yet effective stage mechanics all the way back on the GameCube, where even to this day it still holds up as a staple of Smash Bros stages, especially when it comes to how it looks. The visuals are absolutely gorgeous, with the sky being filled to the brim with stars on a brisk evening in Dreamland. The colors are incredibly bright and vibrant, and they contrast with the starry background perfectly, since it puts the center of the stage in focus at all times. To put this into perspective, imagine if these colors were swapped and you have to fight in the pitch blackness while trying not to get distracted at the sight of the oversaturated sky littered with splash effects and rainbows. Basically, the point I'm trying to make is that bright colors make my brain go brr, but too many bright colors results in my brain blowing a casket. The absolute greatest feature of this stage when it comes to its appearance has to be, you guessed it, the floor. It is very wet. With the Fountain of Dreams being a literal fountain, the ground acts like a huge puddle that everyone splashes around in whenever they move. It's a little hard to notice in the midst of battle, but the ground actually shows your reflection like a mirror, which only makes this stage leak even more profusely with charm. Try going into Karen mode and looking for yourself sometime. It's such an adorable little feature. With the fountain constantly flowing, the water leaks off stage like a waterfall, and through some kind of science, it creates a beautiful swirling rainbow. Whenever someone self-destructs on this stage, I just like to assume that they were a little too enticed by the moist allure of the waterfalls and want to get a closer look. Maybe a little too close though. And finally, in terms of visuals, the background behind the fountain is covered with luscious trees, tons of more stars and moons, and even a freaking Aurora Borealis. This stage is literally an astronomer's wet dream, and trust me, I'm not going to be waking up anytime soon. Now, as much as I love this stage for both its visuals and gameplay mechanics, I sadly need to address the lag allegations. Yes, it's true. If you have 8 players pick Ice Climbers and spam their Blizzard attack, then the game will drop 1, or in really horrible instances, 2 whole frames! Listen, banning a stage competitively due to the frame drops it caused when Ultimate first came out is completely understandable, but I don't think that argument holds up anymore considering this issue got patched in version 8.0, and how even if it never got fixed, that frame drops should be the least of our concerns when people are willingly playing online tournaments without LAN adapters. For fun! Little Timmy the Sonic main playing off the Target Nintendo Switch demo kiosk clearly isn't the problem. It was all Fountain of Dreams' fault that I can't afford rent this month. Sadly, even with the frame drop issue being well beyond fixed now, the way you can make a rule set in Ultimate also prevents Fountain of Dreams from being an option in competitive play. When you set your own rules, you have to option to toggle stage hazards on and off, and 99% of the time, you'll see them turn off at Smash tournaments. These hazards pertain to certain stage elements, such as items spawning on Smashville, obstacles being made in PictoChat, and in Fountain of Dreams' instance, moving platforms. You'd logically think, well, why don't you just keep hazards on for Fountain of Dreams and turn everything else off? And I'd say that you're pretty smart for thinking that. Or at least smarter than the internet Nintendo, who didn't include the option to toggle hazards on without it applying to either all of the stages or none of them. Yes, we could all simply just make a separate rule set with hazards on for Fountain of Dreams to be playable in tournaments, but I doubt anyone has the patience to navigate even more menus than they'd have to just to start the next game in a set. Even if we lived in a big, bright, happy world where we could all handle changing rule sets mid-set, playing online presents another level of inconvenience. Surprisingly, it seems like it'd be easy to change rule sets online since you can change the rules with just by going through the same amount of loading screens, except a little faster than you would offline. But the selection is still dragged out a bit more since you'd have to choose the stage selection, change the stage, go back to the lobby screen, hold a button to go to your rule sets, select the hazards rule set, back out to the lobby screen again, and finally move your icon into the ring. And that's not even including if you want to change characters or not. Now that obviously doesn't seem like a whole lot, but if you don't ban Fountain of Dreams and your opponent wants to go there, then you'd have to do all of that and probably do it again if you're playing on any other stage the next game. My point is that the extra seconds spent doing all of this can definitely seem way too tedious than it's worth for most competitive Smash players. Or maybe I'm wrong and I'm severely underestimating the willpower of Wi-Fi warriors and their lack of attachment to time. Personally, I could never willingly time someone up for 20 bucks. But people have definitely done it for much less. Even if all of that I just explained somehow got fixed and didn't waste as much time as it did, I'm sure including Fountain of Dreams into a competitive stage list would still cause some controversy since it does admittedly resemble Battlefield with its layout. And trust me, we already have plenty of battlefields to battle on. Why are there so many of these? I'll never forgive New Jersey for taking away Kalos, goddammit! Someone tell me which state at least has Kalos legal, and I'll make the day trip to your local just so I can feel something again. And trust me, I definitely don't like Kalos a lot because Pik gets access to a ton of unique platform extensions or anything like that. Anyways, yeah, there'll also surely be arguments to be made about how Fountain of Dreams blast zones are too similar to certain stages with the same layout, but that's a lot more of a niche factor when it comes to competitive Smash Bros, so I doubt it'll be presented as something that determines if Fountain of Dreams or any other Smash stage is legal or not, except in extreme cases like WarioWare, of course. Though, if some of you were crazy enough to make that stage legal in a competitive setting, then I think asking to give Fountain of Dreams a chance isn't that much of a reach. But yeah, that was my big expose on my favorite Smash Bros. Stage ever. Maybe Fountain of Dreams will finally be competitively accessible whenever Smash 6 releases. Whenever that is. Let me know in the comments if you all like this style of video or not, and what your opinions are on Fountain of Dreams' competitive legality. I got a bunch of other niche Smash topics that I'd love to cover in this video format, so click all those buttons for me if you'd like to see more stuff like this. Thanks for watching, and be sure not to drink the water from the fountain. This water tastes like feet!